everyone, a very good evening. You're watching The Money Show on ET Now. I'm Mubina Kapasi, and today and this week we bring to you a very special series called Personal Finance Unlocked. India, as you know, is slowly starting to unlock. The world that we're going to face is not going to be the same as that we faced before the COVID-19 crisis. Now is the time that you need to change your mindset towards your money, your job, your business, your investments. And that's the reason why we decided to hold this 5-day personal finance masterclass that will help you unlock the power of personal finances. Now, step 1 in personal finance has got to be obviously earning your daily bread and butter. The job that you are in, the industry that you work for, does it still have the potential to continue for the next few decades, or could it be made redundant because of technological disruptions? There are so many industries where COVID-19 has essentially made these industries almost redundant or moot because of various factors. Or if not that, it's at least crippled the industry to a point where companies are not being able to even pay salaries. I'm sure the first industry that came to your mind was the travel and the aviation industry. Travel is going to take a long time to come back. Restaurants as well, as individuals prefer to stay out of home dining, will take some time to come back, will take some time to struggle. And hence we decided to first up talk about whether your industry is relevant to the times, whether it can stand the test of times, and which industry out there has got significant job potential. While we're at it, we're also going to bust quite a few myths that surround maybe even career change. A lot of people are hesitant to essentially change their careers at any given point in time, but if you're going to be working for the 40-50 part of the better years of your life, if you're not happy with your job, I strongly believe it's never too late to make the change. So let's take this conversation forward with the experts. I have with me Swati Salunkhe, the Managing Director of Growth Center India Private Limited, an astute career counselor who has in fact guided so many students and career professionals as well out there. Swati, thank you so much for joining us today on the Money Show special series Personal Finance Unlocked. I would like to start off first by talking to you about the kind of questions that your existing set of students, clients, career professionals are coming to you with. This is an unprecedented crisis that we are in the midst of. The class of 2020, of course, is going to be struggling quite a bit. So what are some of the most common questions you're being asked right now?
First of all, good evening and thanks for inviting me on the show. A very relevant question which you have asked me, Mubina. Well, the usual questions are the same, which every parent and every student would like to know is, when is the actual school or when is my actual college campus going to start? And when they say, okay, there's online, then what about my exams? Will the syllabus be the same? Or is it that, okay, if no exams, then what about the entrance exams? What about the selection procedures? Or will there be GD this year? Will there be a PI? Will I get internships? And of course, what about placements? As you said, as you rightly mentioned, it's a little bit bleak right now. So what are my chances? And the most important, should I study now or should I look out for certain work areas, or what do I do, ma'am? So these are the questions hovering everybody's mind, be it a parent or even a student, irrespective of the field, irrespective whether they are in schools, colleges, or even pursuing their postgrad education.
So let's assume eventually classes do start, things will get back to normal. Of course, we're all hopeful for that. For the people who are still studying, maybe things are not so tough, right? I mean, they simply just have to wait for how exams will be conducted, or when will their next lecture start, when will the next class, so on and so forth, start. But I think the trickier part is for the class of 2020. This is possibly the worst time to be graduating because of the crisis that we are in the midst of. You can't even network with people, you can't really see and scout job opportunities, you can't go meet with people. And then to make it worse, you have this entire H1B issue that has cropped up. The most common crop of students that do tend to use the H1B visa is the engineering students. What would be your advice?
Definitely, it's a tough situation for class 2020. But I would say these are all, this is not the first generation undergoing this issue. There was a generation which passed out 100 years ago, maybe during the World War also, and other crises. So let's look at it in the more realistic manner than a negative manner that, oh God, now it's a very difficult or a different, yes, it is a bit difficult, but there are remedies towards it also. H1 and when we talk about US, understand it's a global thing. Across borders, across geographies, across industries, it's a universal thing right now, and it is not something which is going to continue for the next 50, 60 years. It is temporary. So students need to look beyond US also, or even in our country. There are online and hybrid courses. There are something, H1 is also, it is temporarily shut. Not, I would say the door is not completely closed. So there are chances as the things grow in a much better way, things are going to improve. And so right now, since there are not much remedies around, the best is to have patience and start to upgrade yourself in like the reskilling, the upskilling, cross-skilling has to be taken into consideration. A number of online courses are available, so students as well as individuals who are working can definitely upgrade themselves. I think that's the best way to utilize time than worrying about it or even criticizing or even getting into any kind of negative thoughts and creating problems for the future.
Well, yes, that point which you mentioned, we'll definitely be taking it forward. But before that, let me now welcome Rituparna Chakraborty, Executive Vice President and co-founder of Teamlease. Rituparna, thank you so much for joining us today on ET Now. I hope you and your and the team at Teamlease is keeping safe amidst this pandemic. Rituparna, we were just talking to Swati Salunkhe about the most commonly asked questions, that students ask her, and also, of course, that what's the batch of 2020 supposed to do, right? I want to talk to you about the on-ground situation. We've been hearing a lot about all companies, across sectors. Of course, the newer ones like Ola, Uber, and then you have the aviation ones, even something like an Emirates that has been forced to either furlough or let go of employees. So just to understand the setup right now, the context, the on-ground situation, which industries and jobs do you think have been most affected, by the COVID-19 lockdown? I'm obviously going to hazard a guess and assume it's going to be the restaurant, the hospitality, the tourism businesses.
Right. So thank you so much, Mubina. Of course, this is a question in everyone's mind. So I think this is an unprecedented demand crisis. And the situation ahead of us is not about which organization is big or small and which sector or which industry. I think what we are going through is essentially not just a liquidity crisis, it's more of a solvency crisis right now. And hence, companies, be it small, medium, or large, I think what essentially matters is have they been in good shape from a capital structure? Do they have cash to be able to survive? I think these are important signaling values to make a judgment. And just for the sake of everyone, for the listeners, I think let me summarize my thoughts around how do you go about judging who could be a potential employer and who is not. The ones who today are the most vulnerable, or the industries which are most vulnerable, or companies which are most vulnerable, are the ones who have a not so favorable cash flow situation. I mean, any organization which is a heavy cash burner will stand exposed. Organizations which has high net debt, I mean, companies that have borrowed money relative to their earning are likely to be worst affected, and are, honestly. Even cost structures, companies which have very heavy fixed cost structures are likely to be most exposed. Any people intensive business, I mean, it's an anthropological cataclysm that we're witnessing, and hence people dependent businesses are likely to be hurt. Discretionary organization or discretionary product. While essential services like healthcare, banking, telecom, power, these are less exposed compared to discretionary services like hospitality, tourism, lifestyle retail, F&B, outdoor entertainment, so on and so forth. So I think that's the story today on ground. But in these sectors as well, company to company, we are seeing that there is difference. So somebody in the It's not necessary that everyone, let's say in e-commerce, which is supposed to be one of the beneficiaries, will survive and will do well equitably. And if I were to talk to the batch of 2020, I'd like them to take into consideration these 5 parameters that I just shared with you.
That's actually very, valuable, very actionable as well. It's something by which every potential student out there, potential individual looking for a job can, judge an industry, a job position as well, Rituparna. But everything does not have to be doom and gloom. Of course, COVID-19 may give rise to different kinds of jobs, different kind of industries as well out there. So, Rituparna, are you seeing a resurgence in hiring in any sector, any industry, or let's not talk broad base, but even in any particular skill, any particular job that industries want, that the world wants?
Yes. If you allow me to be granular, I'll try and be as specific as possible, because I know this is something that everybody wants to know about. Is there a silver lining, and if yes, where in the current situation? But before that, a disclaimer. It's not that there is a huge resurgence in hiring, because I cannot paint that rosy picture. However, there are specific roles in specific sectors where there is an increase in demand as against the pre-COVID times. Needless to say, e-commerce is a big segment for us. Delivery agents, warehouse executives, supply chain and logistic professionals are in demand. E-grocers, again, delivery agents, same profile as e-commerce segments. Even in delivery apps, but in delivery app, we do see that there is a need for tech developers, design teams, digital marketing teams. Healthcare, doctors, nurses, paramedics, phlebologists, and there are a plethora of other healthcare professionals. Now is the time, and there is this resurgence. Pharma, whether it's in R&D, production staff, supply chain staff, there is possibility. So these are the bright spots. Even single outlet grocery retail chains. Otherwise, retail has taken a huge beating, but we've seen that there would still be demand for in-store attendants, sales attendants, merchandisers, cashiers, and the likes. Facilities management, facility companies like cleaners, housekeeping staff, security management, guards. Of course, I have a few more, but essentially some of this are new requirement based on resurgence in demand. And some of them are on account of a lot of guest workers, of migrant workers, or some amount of migrant workers having left their stations or their working location. So I think that, to summarize, and these are immediate run requirements, but I believe that there will be some sectors where in the long run you will also see resurgence. I think BFSI is one such segment. You will expect digital marketing hires going up, sales executive, technology experts, even in the BFSI segment. Technology overall is expected to be one of the biggest beneficiaries, because you will see a resurgence in e-commerce per se. You will see drone deliveries and stuff like that becoming real. Digital contactless payments, video conferencing, autonomous vehicles, wearable health monitors, 3D manufacturing, voice mobile application, online learning, smart robotics. These are no more going to be something which we hear in the movies. This has to happen now, because that's what COVID has brought upon us. So I think that that's the kind of specific that I can offer as of now to you.
Okay, so lots of green shoots, lots of opportunities. Not everything is lost, that's for sure. Now, Swati, I just want to come to you in a related question. In your earlier answer, you were alluding to how students, professionals who may be as well out of a job, should use this time to sort of upskill themselves, reskill themselves. I'm sure you agree with Rituparna regarding some of the emerging jobs, regarding some of the emerging professions that are out there. What do you recommend? I mean, now that we have a plethora of tools as well available online, and that too very reasonable and competitive prices as well. What do you recommend? What are the skills that will be required tomorrow, or which would match some of the professions, some of the industries that Rituparna has recommended?
Must say Rituparna has pointed out almost all the industries, and that's the reality too. As we see, there has been a situation wherein certain skill set are going to be required. That is the need of the hour. And when we say that a little bit of jobs are changing or the way the jobs will be done, definitely students or people have to now get geared up that there will be a different workplace by itself. Whatever traditional offices that we had, now it will be a my space, that is home space will come into picture a lot. Maybe something which will be more online. So brushing up with online technology is a must. Gone are the days when only a little bit of Microsoft Word or PowerPoint was enough, but now with the work from home, a lot of protocols and security issues will be there. There will be something as cyber security. So people or the class of 2020 for that matter, and even the existing professionals need to understand that their work area has changed, and with most of the companies now declaring that work from home will be a very dominant factor. Even for that matter, our education system, we are going to have hybrid systems. So embracing technology is the need of the hour now. If one is not comfortable, you better gear up with it. And also the soft skills out here, with that, it's all about not only working alone, but working in team in different parts of the world maybe. So you need to gear up with that. And again, the work environment, when we are talking, it may not be a 9 to 5 job anymore. It will be anywhere, everywhere. It might be a 24/7. And so you see, it is more to do with the workplace, yes, but there are certain industries wherein a person has to be physically on the site doing the work, as Rituparna has rightly mentioned, but a lot of jobs now will be work from home. So people need to understand that work from home is also going to be a career in the making, and then you go ahead in the ladder. It is not that those who are not required will be working from home. That is the biggest thing. Because most of the clients are fearing that too. I do get calls wherein they ask like, okay, if they ask me to work from home, does that mean that I'll be losing my job or something? But work from home is going to be a definite feature in most of the organizations, I think across various industries too. So with the new job profile, technological enhancement and ready to work in different work spheres is what people need to get geared up with.
All right. Rituparna, Teamlease, of course, is a job portal. You ensure staffing for different employers. So Teamlease obviously has their skin in the game. What is it that employers as well today are looking in employees? What is that one maybe non-negotiable skill that they want that every employee should have?
Teamlease, we are springboards in good times and shock absorbers in bad times. I think, yes, we do have right now the real-time agony in the labor market. If you were to look at what employers are looking for, given that we are suddenly so much aware about the fact that we just simply cannot predict the future, and hence cognitive skill sets, even if you try and predict for the future, may not help. And hence, I do agree with Swati. I think one of the basic operating system today is digital literacy. I think what the digital revolution that India was keeping at bay, I would say, actually, it's been in abeyance for a while. What we were anticipating in 2030 now has been forced upon us in 2020. So digital literacy is a basic operating system for anyone who's looking to enter the job market or is looking to make a switch to anything else. Second is learnability. You have to demonstrate yourself and make yourself counted as someone who has and possess this. Because this is again what I feel is this essentially is a skill set that can make you your career accident proof, COVID proof, recession proof, whatever you might call it. Third is agility and ability to handle ambiguity. I think I believe Indians will score well in this function because I think we have demonstrated over the years our ability to handle ambiguity better than anyone else. And hence, this is a skill set which definitely will be very critical and prime from an employer's perspective they're looking to hire. Coding skills are not something which only technology folks should be doing. Trust me, coding skill is like life skill now. If you have to pick it up, so no matter where you are, and it's not very difficult. Coding is to learn coding skills, you do not have to go to a nearby computer center or enroll yourself into a fancy degree course. It's something that is it's very easy to learn online. Fungibility, I think it's very important. You cannot be a person who gets viewed as who's stuck and is a specialist in one area, because you're seeing the pace at which jobs are becoming redundant. And hence, how fungible, like for example, a lifestyle retail in-shop demonstrator today doesn't have a job, not just in their own company, but in the entire industry. That job role has stopped to exist. And while there will be few people, shops are opening, but that job is disappearing by and large. And hence, what do those individuals do? How can they fit into some other, and how easily they can make a switch to some other job role is important. And overall flexibility. We've always had these fixed notions about what is security, what is a job. I think, we have to change that, because now our job or a source of livelihood is better than the color of the job. So yeah, I think those would be my view in terms of what employers today are looking for.
All right. Okay, great. Well, I completely agree with you on coding, because even my younger brother has been on my case for me to learn JavaScript. I'm yet to get to that, but yeah, I think coding is something that has almost become a necessity now for everybody. Swati, I want to now talk to you about one cohort of the working population out there, which is in the middle of their career, maybe above 40, maybe above 45. They're expensive, and unfortunately, due to COVID, some of them are entrenched as well. You know, many of them may be looking for a career change, but you know, because of the humdrums of usual life, they may have stayed away from that. But do you think if somebody who was not happy with their job, they could look for a career change now, if it is of course financially feasible? And also, if you could just bust these stigmas that are associated with making a shift in your career. Swati, just request you to be a little brief on this.
As you said, there are people who would like to change, and they would like to see what is in for me now. But over here, they need to introspect over here first, why they are thinking about it, and what are the resources they have in place. As you rightly said, finance is one thing, but the bigger thing is, do they have the technical know-how, the right connects, and with the market being very retrenched, what kind of product or service are they going to offer? So what happens is, otherwise also it was a situation, in other situations also, it was something like, can you take this chance? And now with this situation, it is more, I would say the risk is 4 times more. So over here, self-introspection is much more important. And with that, the technological skills, the financial viability, and the product, or something to do with patience, are they ready to wait for that kind of a moment? In the sense that there might be some discomfort in their lifestyle or their financial capacity. If they're able to cope up with it, I don't think it is all about stigma. Success will come, but the period of achieving the success is something which needs to take with very, very positive outlook and a go-getter attitude. That will what will help. And if they're ready for it, then they can take the plunge. But of course, it depends upon how well they are ready for it, with their family support, with the health conditions, all needs to take into consideration. It cannot be just 1 or 2 parameters. All the parameters need to be considered, and then only arrive at this decision. I would say there is no right, there is no wrong, there is no yes and no. It totally depends upon the patience and the passion, what the person, he or she, would like to get into.
All right. Rituparna, just before I let you go, you know, I already took Swati's opinion. I would like yours now for the batch of 2020. Like I said, not a great time to be, you know, graduating, but it is what it is. What would be your advice, your guidance to them?
First, my advice would be stay frugal, because I think this is the time. I mean, I'm assuming most of this batch, and I'm sorry if I'm being judgmental, but this generation that's coming out are not used to the kind of how do I say? I mean, it's a pressure cooker situation, right? Where financially everybody is in a pressure cooker situation, or the majority of the people are. And if people had taken loans for their education and they were looking forward to a job in the campus this year, or they had offers, but the offers have got delayed, I think my advice is just stay frugal for now. In any case, there are very limited options to spend these days. But yes, frugality. The second thing is what I mentioned a while back. I think our job is better than no job, and hence at the moment, don't go by the color of the job. Pick up whatever you can get your hands in, even if it's a 6-month stint, 12-month stint. Please pick it up. Pick up apprenticeships, pick up internships in different organizations, and organizations would be open towards all these options today, because I mean, while they are struggling with the current situation, but they're also they're optimistic about the future, and hence they need talent. This could be a win-win arrangement for both you as well as organization. And I think be thankful, most importantly. I think COVID is a better credit course to prepare you for the future than any of the theoretical curriculum you've been through. I mean, trust me, you guys are coming out as far more resilient and far more prepared to deal with the difficult future or the unknown future than any one of us. And finally, focus on your stamina and wellness. I think COVID has very clearly exposed underlying conditions that people go through and people ignore. If you want to win, survive, and survival is growth today, you have to focus on your stamina and wellness. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be my advice, Mubina.
Excellent. Great. Swati and Rituparna, it was really a pleasure having you both on board today on The Money Show. Thanks so much for really, kickstarting our entire personal finance masterclass that we intended to help with such valuable advice, very practical, guidance as well, that all of you all can implement right from the class of 2022, those who've reached the midpoint of their career. Thank you very much once again. Well, folks, do write into us on The Money Show at etnow.tv with your feedback on this episode. And don't forget, tomorrow as well, we'll be back with day 2 of this personal finance masterclass. This is The Money Show.